Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I'm really surprised when I hear members of the national media talk about this year's Cleveland Browns, last year's darlings of the NFL. It's interesting. Almost everybody is giving them a mulligan for the past year as if disaster didn't actually strike. Unofficially, it seems like it's 80-20 in favor of the Browns having a winning season, which would almost automatically put them into the playoffs, which are expanded this year. If not, you can't keep blaming Freddie Kitchens. I wonder who gets the blame this time. We've got Bud Shaw here. More Sports and Les-levine is on the air. Sports and Les-levine. It's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-levine into our 24th consecutive year. 25th is coming up around Labor Day, and we're seen exclusively and powered by cleveland.com. Bud Shaw is back with us. Seems like it's been a long time since we've seen him. Where have you been hiding out, Bud?
Well, Les, I was away on vacation for a couple of days playing golf in South Carolina. Yeah, I know it's a tough life.
It is tough. What, they don't have courses here?
Yeah, they do. They do. But a friend of mine invited me, and I didn't want to pass it up. So terrific. It was a great trip. I played again since I've been back.
Did you set any course records theoretically?
I don't know what the course record is for red wine consumption, so until I do, I can't really say.
All right. You started to say something before I rudely interrupted.
Yeah, I played again, 9 holes again this afternoon with a friend, and I know some people out there are golfers, so it seems as if things are starting to get back to semi-normal for some of these clubs.
Why is that?
Well, you know, up till about a week or two ago, you couldn't be in the same cart with another golfer,
right,
by a board of health, and they're starting to relax that restriction now. And that for some of these clubs that already didn't have a big profit margin, that's a big deal, you know, because they were sending out one to a cart. A lot of them don't have an unlimited supply of carts, right, and it was really cutting into, you know, income. Not that everybody doesn't have, you know, tribulations these days, but they were happy to see that that restriction go away.
Did you notice the guys you were playing with, or in your foursome or somebody else's foursome, that maybe the situation being outdoors bothered them, or did it seem like they were back to their normal way of playing the game?
It seemed almost back to normal because I think they're outdoors. I have noticed that even at this place I played, which was out here on the west side, Sweetbriar out in Avon Lake, they still limit the number of people that can be in the pro shop at one time, and there are still signs up asking people to keep distance from each other when they're inside. There's also, you know, they've put little foam cups in the actual cup so that the ball doesn't go all the way down inside the cup when you putt it.
So if you hit the cup, the shot is good, right?
Yeah, and there's no rakes in the bunkers still. Yeah. They don't want people handling the flagstick or the rakes. So we have a long way to go to get back to normal, but that's a small sign that maybe some of these places that are hurting income-wise can maybe, you know, survive this.
Okay, so while you were out playing golf, I was doing some research. And I believe I found out, I couldn't understand what the holdup is. If the Browns want Jadeveon-Clowney, just go sign him. They got the money and all that stuff. What's holding them back? Well, what's holding him back is apparently even though he was getting offered more from Cleveland than anybody else, he apparently didn't want to come here. But that's not what I think I got out of this research. And that is that I think I found out what the analytics is all about. Why DePodesta is so important, and why these new young coaches, the new wave of coaches. Tell me if I'm on the right track here. There's a new stat out. You know how I love in baseball, they make up stats and they'll find out that Babe Ruth wasn't that good. There's a thing called a disruption rate. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't actually. No, that's I know I'm familiar with next gen stats, but I don't read it. I don't
Okay.
follow that on a daily
All right, so you
basis.
can see there it's the combined total of hurries, pressures, or sacks with only one counting per play divided by the number of pass snaps. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 guys, and I think we'll be able to show you why the analytics are so important. So that tells you what it is. All right, number one according to the disruption rate here is a guy by the name of Myles-Garrett, which is pretty impressive. And it's also pretty impressive since he missed the last 6 games. But his disruption rate is the best in the NFL. He registered a pressure on 17.1% of his dropbacks in 2019, which was the highest percentage posted by a player since the 2016 team. He also became one of just 3 players to post a pressure rate of 12% or higher in the last 3 seasons. The other 2, Aaron Donald and Von Miller, and I think most people would think those guys were right at the top of the class. So if you go by more than just the eye test, and you have this test here with the disruption rate, it falls right in, and we'll find it out as we go down the list. Zadarius Smith is number 2 from Green Bay. Robert Quinn, Dallas, is number 3. Nick Bosa is in. Joey Bosa is not. Josh Allen of Jacksonville. Aaron Donald of the Rams. Shaquille Barrett from Tampa Bay. Dante Hightower from New England is number 8. So you see we're skipping number 9. You know why? That belongs to a Cleveland Browns player. And we're going to show you who that is. How about that? Adrian-Clayborn is number 9. So, and number 10 is Von Miller. So if you go along with the theory, the analytic theory, they already got their Jadeveon-Clowney, right? I mean, here's a guy you don't think about the additions the Browns made this past year. You don't even think about that, but this thing called the disruption rate tells you why he's up there, and some other players are still on the hook looking for a job.
Yeah, and I think, listen, I know Olivier Vernon, had a knee injury last year and was less than what we thought he would be.
Right.
But if I'm them and he's signed for, this year, I want to see whether I can get that out of him on a 1-year deal. And that's why I think you have to look at, when you put these teams together, how much money you're going to spend at different position groups. And we all know that Myles-Garrett is going to break the bank. I mean, he should. There's no way this team should or could justify letting him go. So I'm fine with them not signing Clowney, given the talent around Garrett right now.
All right, let's take a look at what Nick Chubb says about Adrian-Clayborn, and we'll find out this might be the reason the Browns aren't going whole hog on getting Jadeveon-Clowney or anybody else for that matter. According to Nick Chubb of NFL.com, Clayborn has more sacks in one game in 2017 than he had all in 2019, but that only illustrates how incomplete sacks are as a stat. Clayborn was an effective player for the Falcons' defense last year by making most of the pass rushing snaps he was afforded, recording 35 quarterback pressures on just 282 pass rushes. The only problem, Bud, is you can throw in these new stats and all, but we've talked about this in baseball. Most people know what a 300 batting average is and 100 RBIs and so on, and 35 home runs. We don't know yet what these numbers mean. It's talking about Clayborn, according to Shook, and he says it's he puts out a number. We don't know if that's good, bad, or how that compares to other players.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, some people in this town will have a bad taste in their mouth about analytics and about these kinds of stats. But I'm not against finding a different way to look at production. And it worked in baseball it certainly had worked for the Oakland A's, who had a limited payroll. That's, limited payrolls aren't the problem in the NFL. So you could question, whether the need is as great, to look at it, a little differently. But I think these are smart people in this front office. And to the point of your question, Les, with your opening comment, which I thought was good, who would be to blame this year? It can't be Freddie Kitchens. And I think everything is going to fall in the lap of Paul DePodesta this year. I mean, this is a guy who has, risen to, top decision maker in this organization, and a guy that Jimmy Haslam has clearly looked at and said, maybe I made a mistake in not following his advice a few years ago when I got off the roller coaster and got rid of, Sashi and disrupted. Talk about disruption factor. Jimmy Haslam's got a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Well,
so I think that DePodesta is the guy now that is certainly steering the organization, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does.
And look how many regime changes he's made it through, and still has worked his way to the top. Although now, if that's the case, he doesn't mind giving other people the credit for what's going on here. You don't see DePodesta's name all that often, even though he's got seniority.
Yeah, and I know he's taken a little bit of grief because he lives in La Jolla and just flies in and out of here. But he was here an awful lot last year. He was here on game days. He was here during
216-575-0403.
I think.
Go ahead, Bud.
So,
all right. Well, Bud, we're going to take a break. We'll come on back in a moment.
Maybe finally it'll be true that nobody cares.
All right, we're gonna reset, Bud. Did you know that the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and their winning is happening all over the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. Facebook.com is where you can find us. New content is posted each and every day. It's real simple. We post the question, you post the answer. We show it up on the air that night, and you can do that with tonight's question of the day. We'll come on back in a moment with Bud Shaw. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
So I didn't know too much. I kind of, the big 4 tackles that everybody had been talking about were kind of on my radar. I had seen them and kind of reached out to my agent and stuff to just kind of get his opinion on each of the guys. But once we drafted him, I dug a little bit deeper into the research. And just from everything I've heard, he's just a hardworking guy that loves to play the game of football. And he's going to try and do everything possible to, put us in the best position to win. And that's really all you can ask from a rookie. If he's going to come in and listen and be coachable and work hard, that's what you can ask from day one. We've had these Zoom conference calls with him, and so far he's been in tune to those. You don't get as much interaction, on-field interaction as you would in a normal offseason. But from those, he's been dialed in, and everything I've done, texting him and talking to him, he seems like he's ready to work. And that's really all I can ask in that, and that's all you can learn. Once we get under the same roof and we can practice together, then we'll learn a lot more. But right now, it's been a true positive.
Tonio talking about Jedrick Wills and with their virtual practices. How tough do you expect that to be, Bud, as we get to be prepared, and we don't know how much time these players will have to work together? Do you have any reason to think that it'll go well or not go well, or you're just going to wait and see what happens?
Well, first of all, Les, I want to say I think I saw Joel-Bitonio riding a horse and buggy down in the Worcester area. That's an Amish joke, Les. Feel free to laugh. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It's kind of a.
You talking about the beard here?
Yeah. That was the joke. All right, it's been a while. No, I think it's one of the things that I think is a legitimate concern for this organization. Not that there aren't new coaches and new players getting drafted and taking over teams every year, but this organization in particular is counting on a couple of very young players to be good, and has a completely new staff. So even if you have been here for a few years, this might be your third defensive coordinator, your third offensive coordinator, your third head coach by now. I do think the virtual aspect of the learning curve, how this organization and others in the NFL have had to deal with the pandemic, is something that, if not could sidetrack this team, could slow down this team in trying to improve itself and become a competent organization in the league.
Well, like most of us, CBS Sports had a lot of time on their hands, so they decided to go back in since the turn of the century, 2000, and figure out which team or which year was the best draft year for each team. And they come with, just off the top of your head, can you imagine what they came up with as far as the Browns are concerned, the best draft year for them?
How many years back?
20.
20 years?
Yeah, since they came back in 1999.
Boy, it's hard to think of one. I guess it would be a more recent one, right? When myles-garrett came out number one, that would be my guess.
Well, that's the 2018 one, and they're going all the way back to I guess the Courtney Brown era. Here's what they have now. This is the best draft class since 2000, according to CBS Sports. Baker-Mayfield, a quarterback, round 1, first pick.
I see.
Round 1, fourth pick was Denzel-Ward. Austin Corbett gets round 2, 33rd pick of the draft. Round 2, 35th was nick-Chubb. So right there you've got, between your franchise quarterback, we assume, Baker-Mayfield, then Denzel-Ward, and nick-Chubb. That's 3 out of the 4 that they took. Round 3, 67th pick, that's Chad Thomas, the defensive end. Round 4, pick 105, Antonio Callaway, that's a bust. Pick 150 is Jannard Avery. Damian Ratley is the 6th round pick, 175, and the 6th round pick, 188, is Simeon Thomas. So that's the best they've got since the Courtney Brown draft, I guess.
Yeah, you try to think of like the Joe Thomas year, right? But I can't remember anybody other than Joe Thomas from that draft.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Brady Quinn was in it, but certainly he wouldn't be a guy that would recommend it one of the better drafts.
All right, so Brian Diardo from CBS Sports gives you the reason for how they picked it. Cleveland's 2018 class, led by number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield, should be on its way to surpassing the team's 2010 class, a group that included cornerback Joe Hayden, safety T.J. Ward, and guard Sean Lavulo. Along with Mayfield, who's looking to bounce back, the Browns' 2018 class includes cornerback Denzel-Ward, 2018 Pro Bowler, and a running back, nick-Chubb, a Pro Bowler last season after rushing for 1,494 yards and 8 touchdowns, while averaging 5 yards per carry. The Browns also picked another couple of solid contributors, such as Austin Corbett, Chad Thomas, and Jannard Avery. So if they're right, it looks like they're not only set for right now, but next couple of years.
Yeah, even though a couple of those guys, Avery, of course, isn't here anymore.
Right.
But yeah, it's not hard to figure out I mean, it's not as simple as saying the drafts have been the reason why this organization has been so poor for so long. But certainly they've been a big part of it, along with the head coach and the inability to find a quarterback. So I'm in that Baker-Mayfield camp where I'm not thrilled with some of the things he does. I don't think he's very mature or has been very mature. But I still think he's closer to what we saw in the end of his rookie year than what we saw last year.
Well, and if he's not, all the picks around him that seem to be good now to build up this 2010 and 2018 draft, if he's not the right guy, then they get set back a couple more years after that.
Yeah, I thought the really smart thing they did in that draft was take Chubb where they took Chubb and not jumped on a running back in the top 5 that year. Not that I don't value them. I just think that it's usually a deep position, and as good as Saquon Barkley is, I don't know that people would make that trade right now and give up Nick Chubb for him, and because I just think that Chubb is that close right now.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-levine@gmail.com. Tomorrow night, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, will be here. Then Mary Kay Cabot will be here on Thursday. When we get back, Joel-Bitonio will talk about offensive line coach Bill Callahan. He's been getting kudos all over the place. We'll do that when we get back. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations, plus the website you got to check out before you go, northeastfactorydirect.com. They've got the guaranteed best price for 1 year at Northeast Factory Direct. We'll come back in a moment with Bud Shaw. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Nature Stone's 30-year anniversary with a free Nature Stone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Nature Stone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say, it's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
I've been around the block with O-line coaches, but I truly think, so far Coach Callahan's, I haven't been hands-on with him, but from our Zoom meetings and our conference calls in that sense, he truly understands what's, how to play in the NFL. And you look at his pedigree of guys that he's coached. But the great part about being with a lot of O-line coaches is you take different details from each of their, abilities to coach. So if one coach was teaching me something and that works for me, I can still use that. Most NFL coaches have an understanding that guys are kind of where they're at, athletically or skill-wise, and the talents they've already, accumulated over their careers. And then he's just going to help hone those different things. So I don't think it's really necessarily forgetting things that I've been taught in the past, but just trying to understand what Coach Callahan wants and implementing a few of those tools into my tool belt.
One of the reputation talking points of Callahan that I heard was that he was very physically demanding of his team, his players, offensive linemen. And we all know there are different ways to coach, so I'm not saying that's good or bad. But when you learned that Callahan was going to be your new position coach, did you gather input and from other team players? And how do you feel about a physically demanding coach at your position?
Yeah, so I think I found out about him when I was at the Pro Bowl, actually, which worked out because I talked to Travis Frederick. I talked to Austin Ryder, who was a guy that got coached by him when he was younger, and just tried to reach out to as many guys as I possibly could to really see, what's this guy all about? Because you hear good things about him. I talked to him at the Combine, and all of them loved him. I mean, they loved him. They did say that, hard work is part of it, but I think that's like the bare minimum. You come to the NFL, you're ready to work hard. I think he does have a lot of drills, and I think he has a lot of knowledge of the game, but all those things are working to make you a better player. I think he also understands guys are older guys, guys that are in year, 9, 10, 11, 12 can't quite do as much as some of the younger guys out on the field. And I think he has an understanding of that. He's also been a head coach a few times, so he understands where that's coming from. But all the things I've heard is he's going to work with you. He's going to put you in the best position to be successful. And that's all you can ask. I mean, we're in the NFL, we're here to work, and that's kind of the main thing. If you're not ready to work, if you're not ready to put in that time and the demand on your body, then you're not in the right sport. So from that perspective, I think we're all ready to attack it, and I think he'll understand if we need some time or 1 day or 2 days. We need to pull back a little bit, but I think we're excited and ready and ready to get to work with him.
All right, I get it, but I see that's why the horse is out by the stable. I get it now. I do have a question, though.
It was a bad joke, but hey, it's not the first bad joke that's been told on this.
Not on this show. All right, I do have a question, though. Bitonio's a veteran, been around with the Browns for a while, and he's outright telling you that Callahan may have the way he wants to do it, but it doesn't matter. He'll do it his way. Did you get that sense that I just got? And if that's correct, why should it be that way?
Well, I don't think he's saying that clearly. What I heard is that this is a guy that's had several offensive line coaches. He's tried to take what works for him from each and every one of them, and he trusts that Callahan's going to allow his strengths to continue to flourish and not try to coach him a completely different way. But listen, when you've been around, the key thing here is Bitonio saying, "Yeah, I asked some people at the Pro Bowl, like,
not at the game around the corner."
Yeah, like, hey, what I've been doing has been pretty good for me to have gotten there to ask people about Bill Callahan.
Right,
so
right.
I get what you mean.
216-575-0403. When you hear all the optimism nationally and locally about the Browns' offense, I don't think you hear enough about Nick Chubb. And according to Sam Monson from Pro Football Focus, he thinks Chubb is overrated. Not only is he overrated, I think you can make the case he's the best running back in the NFL right now. You're never going to hear that from everybody else. That's going to be Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. He's averaging 4 yards per carry after contact. His numbers are insane. If you throw on the tape, it's not coming from nowhere. His tape is nuts. The only thing holding him back from that conversation is the fact the Browns haven't loaded him up in the same level workload with the other running backs. Yeah, but I think that one of the reasons would be that there's an offensive receiver core that needs to have the ball also.
Yeah, and through their own inefficiency at times last year, the Browns ended up playing from behind, and certainly when that happens, the running back doesn't get as many opportunities. He, to me, is the kind of guy that you would love to model every player you draft off of, just because of how effective he is, how quiet. I don't want to say quiet because that makes it sound like anybody who raises their voice around there is a bad guy. I don't mean it that way, but he's certainly a guy that just wants what he does on the field to show who he is. And that quote was that no one else will say that he's the best in the league, and at the top of that list of no one else who will say it is Nick Chubb himself. He's not, he's the perfect complement to the squeaky wheels that were on this team last year, because he wasn't that at all.
And by the way, that doesn't make them bad guys. You can combine the attitude of Chubb with the attitude of the wide receivers, the divas, if you want to call it, and that doesn't mean it can't work.
No, right, exactly. And we'll see this year, Landry certainly had a better year than I would have thought he would have, given that Beckham was on the team, because I thought Beckham would just get so many balls thrown his way. When you looked at situations last year where Baker-Mayfield was chased from the pocket and made something happen, invariably the guy who came back to him along the sideline and made these acrobatic catches was Jarvis-Landry, not Odell-Beckham-Jr.
Right.
Now, I don't know exactly why that is, but clearly the connection between Beckham and Mayfield wasn't there. Maybe it will be this year, but certainly Landry became that, I don't want to say number one receiver because I don't think he's that talented to be that, but he certainly became 1A last year in the kind of season he had.
I asked Anthony Lima this the other night. I said, do you think that Landry ought to go back to the hat that he used to wear when he coached the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, Les, that's a different Landry.
Oh, and probably a different hat.
I told you mine wasn't the first or the last.
No, there's more. There's more. As long as there's time on the clock, there's more. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. Dennis Maniloff tomorrow, Mary Kay Cabot on Thursday. Explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the path to the bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more information. Bud Shaw and I return in a moment. More Sports and Les-levine continues on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
You know, a lot of when people talk about this scheme that Coach Stefanski wants to put in, they kind of compare it to what Kyle Shanahan does in San Francisco. Do you see those similarities? Because obviously you played under Shanahan in 2014. And also, how do you think this can benefit your quarterback, Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, I do see the similarities. You know, I think, there's probably 6 or 7 teams that kind of run this outside zone system. I think Shanahan's probably the most entrenched in it, where he runs it all the time. But I think a lot of similarities to that system, and you get the boots off of the runs. It's the marriage of the run and pass, right? Like, we want to make the runs look just like the passes, the play actions just like the runs, and it all kind of works itself together. And I think, I'm excited to get back in it. I thought we had a good offense my rookie year. Obviously, we had some quarterback difficulties and things of that nature, but I think we showed that it can be a successful offense. And then, obviously, Shanahan's taking the Falcons and the Niners to the Super Bowl with the offense. So there's definitely, a chance to do some things on offense that we're excited to do. And then Baker, I think he works in this offense great. He's going to be able to sell those runs and set up in the pocket. And it's not just drop back passing 50 times a game, which is a benefit to the O-line too. If you can sell the run and play action and boot and run keepers off the run game, it's going to give Baker another second or two to have guys get open and run routes. And I think you've seen that with the big shots that, a team like the Niners, a team like Minnesota took last year, where they have these guys, Diggs and Thielen and George Kittle, all these guys running, down the field open because they're so worried about stopping the run. And if you look at the stats kind of from the last couple of years, Baker's actually been a really good rollout quarterback and a quarterback that's, been able to throw off the run and stuff like that. So I think this offense fits him really well, and I'm excited to, get some reps and see him in it.
Joel-Bitonio continuing his discussion, this time on Kevin-Stefanski versus Kyle Shanahan. And, we showed all the Browns coaches since '99 the other night, and I asked the guests who do they miss on? Who should they have kept and given longer time? And unanimously, it's been Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant just head coaches, but yeah. I thought he was very effective, and I know people thought it was maybe wrong of him or arrogant of him to make his little PowerPoint presentation, but he clearly saw a situation here that he thought was untenable, and he wanted to get somewhere where there was a serious quarterback that he could that could run his system.
Right. And it was Mike Pettin. It was Mike Pettin that was Mike Pettin that was here, and he didn't see him as being better than Kyle Shanahan. Didn't see Pettin being better than Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, and I think he looked at that offense and he thought, how this organization might be tethered to this quarterback who's not putting the work in, and that's just a recipe for disaster, both for a head coach and a coordinator.
But do you get the sense, as I do, that you see what Stefanski offers, and by the way, if he's as entrenched in the offense as everybody's saying that he is, then let's keep him away from demanding to be the guy who calls the plays also. Let him be entrenched in that offense without calling plays. But do you get the sense that this offense is going to be really, really good, but to win games it's going to have to be really, really good?
Yeah, I certainly think, I try to remind myself that at this time last year, there were so many kudos being thrown Freddie Kitchens' way. And we thought the very same things, at least some of the very same things, that this was going to be an offense that was almost unstoppable. And certainly that didn't turn out to be the case. So I'm trying to keep in mind, Les, that this is a really hard league to win in. And what might look good through preseason and in the early part of a season is always subject to adjustment because of what the defenses are doing to you. So I think they're going to I don't think this is a great defensive team, and I do think they're going to have to score, their share of 24 to 30 points a game.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask for.
To win.
Yeah. Well, so you said they seemed unstoppable. The only one who could stop them was Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, and I don't know what that was about. I've had so many people ask me, like, well, how was he so effective as a coordinator the year before, and so ineffective last year? I don't know what it was. My one theory that I've heard, which I think makes some sense, is that he took over at a time when there wasn't enough time to revamp a playbook, that he used most of Todd Haley's playbook with some tweaks. The team had been running it most of the year before Freddie took over, so maybe there was a comfort level there. I think given a lot of time in the offseason to come up with his own and being pulled at in 6 different directions as a head coach, and something he had never faced before, I think a lot of things fell through the cracks, and including his commitment to the stuff that got practiced during the week. You hear guys talk now about how if they were not effective on game day in the first quarter, that Freddie just threw out a bunch of stuff and went with his gut instinct. And we know how that gut instinct worked for Butch Davis back in the day. It seems like it worked about as well for Freddie.
216-575-0403. Email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. Northeast Factory Direct. Alex started the business with one piece of furniture in his garage some 20 years ago in Lakewood. Look at him now. He's got one of the top businesses anywhere in the country, let alone Lakewood or Cleveland. 3 locations plus the website, northeastfactory.com is the place to check out. Sokolowski's University, and I know we have so many fans of that place. Keep checking the website. They'll let you know when they're ready to go. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. Bud Shaw with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. And every Nature Stone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. Detroit's Armando Galarraga falls 1 out short of completing a perfect game against the Indians. Jason Donald was ruled safe by umpire Jim Joyce on what should have been a simple ground out and changed that game incredibly. Indians should have been victims of a perfect game. Also in the state, Babe Ruth announced his retirement in the middle of the season with the Boston Braves. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's check out this date in Les-Levine history. That is Les Levine on the bottom right with the mustache. That was the look back then. Les breaks up a perfect game in the 8th inning with an infield hit, but fearing that it might keep Les out of law school, he argued with the umpire, claiming that he missed first base. Wasn't that the honorable thing to do?
Absolutely, Les.
Didn't help me in law school.
Yeah, I don't think you get the credit you deserve for that.
The perfect game was the fact that I hadn't had a hit in so long. I made 27 outs in a row. Whatever. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We have a Facebook question of the day. We asked you if the NBA allows teams with should the NBA allow teams with no chance of making the playoffs, like the Cavaliers, be set up in the regular season. What do you think about that, Bud?
Yeah, I hate this idea that the teams don't get a chance to finish the season. They were playing better. They're young. They're now going to go from March to December maybe without playing games.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fair to organizations that are young and developing. That's all.
Well, Dennis Davis says no, they have no legitimate complaint to be excluded in the playoffs. This is an unusual year and it needs to be completed as soon as possible. Glenn Berger says no, the teams that are struggling should not compete in the regular season. Tough times call for tough measures. Restart the season with the intent of completing the regular season as quickly as possible, then into the playoffs. Aaron Wood says, no, they should just go right into the playoffs if the NBA returns this season. Andy Mee says, no, they've all had enough games under their belts to prove their worth. No need to back everything up even further and delay the start of the next season just to see the bottom of the barrel teams play it out. Larry Pantages says the decision will show whether money or common sense is driving the train. More people equals more chance of having to shut down again, maybe permanently, if illness arrives and spreads around the league. That's a question we hadn't really addressed.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but so I guess I'd like to change my answer to no.
All right, you talked you into it. 216,
I was in the minority of one there, apparently.
Yeah, 216-575-0403 is the number to call. While you're standing on the golf course waiting to hit your next 290-yard drive, you come up any thoughts on the sports scene that you hadn't had before? I mean, I see how easily your mind gets changed.
Yeah, well, we talked about it today a little bit. The couple of guys that I played with. You know, I know you're a big baseball guy, and you may have a different opinion on this. But weren't we a couple months ago talking about the possibility of an 81-game season?
Yes. No, even less than that.
I thought it was
80, less than a couple of months ago. It was,
and so I thought that was the idea. And then we got a proposal from the baseball players for 114 games, which clearly benefits them because their salaries are prorated. And then we get a proposal by the owners for a 50-game season, which seems a little too remember Cliff Notes?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
He was born in 1947, I remember.
Yeah, it feels a little too abridged.
That was a take your suggestion and take it out of here.
Yeah, and so what's in between the 50 and the 114? I would say somewhere around 81.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think they're going to end up again. And I just think that a lot of what's happened is been unfortunate posturing.
Well, it is bad, and what happened was no different than any other strike situation or labor dispute. That in law, there's a theory that you don't want to see them make the sausage. Just give it to me after. Don't let me see what happens. And it's the same thing here with some of these players, and then Boros gets into it. And as an agent, he's got nothing to do with other than making money off the players, but he shouldn't be involved in the players and the owners squabble here. And these things go on all the time. You just don't see it. And when you see it, it looks a lot worse than it probably is.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think a month or so ago, I wasn't sure that there would be any season at all. I don't know whether we've been distracted by the social justice issue that we're dealing with right now, and we've kind of forgotten about the COVID-19. But at one point a month ago or so, I thought that from a health standpoint, it probably didn't make much sense to try to do the season. Being out and about more, I'm seeing things start to get back to normal. I'm seeing people less concerned about social distancing and those kinds of things. And the fact that the owners and players are speaking leads me to believe that there will be a resumption. And, I know the players feel like they're taking a risk.
But going further than that, I think the confidence the fans have in the game is totally shaken. If they wipe out this year and don't play it at all,
absolutely.
You got something that I don't think you come back from for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of those answers to the Facebook question, did make some sense when, drastic times call for drastic measures. And, if there's a season and it excludes some NBA teams, people will not object too strongly to that, even in those cities where their team isn't involved. But if there's no baseball season, that's going to be a really difficult thing to come back.
We, of course, are seen live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And however, that's the live presentation, and you can call us on that show. If you want to call us sometime during the day, leave us a message. If you can't get to the live show, use the voicemail of Truth and Reason, 216. There you see it right there, 200-6650. Call anytime, leave us a message, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Bud Shaw and I return one more time. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, the D-Man Dennis Maniloff joins us, and Thursday it'll be Mary Kay Cabot. Following Monday, well, we'll have Dave Bacon on Friday with his weekend winners, and then coming up this coming Monday, it'll be Ken Carman from 92.3 The Fan, followed by Bud Shaw on Tuesday night. Let's check out birthdays for today. See who's Garo Yepremian. If you don't know who Garo Yepremian is, please Google it. You got to watch that kick. Calamari, 1947. Lawrence McCutcheon was born on this date. Raul Ibanez, Earl Boykins from Cleveland, and Austin Davis, former great quarterback. No, not former great quarterback, but he was a quarterback with the Cleveland Browns. Bud, you ready for quickies? Well, you know what? Here's my own quickie. How come the Canary Islands have no canaries? Any idea?
I was not aware of that.
Well, you are now.
That. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Don't make fun of our staff here. What do you got? 5.0 or 50 out of 10?
Yeah,
no, it's 5.0.
5.0.
All right. Eastside Eddie says.
I like to downgrade the first one just to leave room for other ones. So that's the only reason.
You might have made I've looked at these. You might have made the right move. Eastside Eddie says, is there a coach in the NFL safer than Stefanski? They could go 0-16 and not score a single point while doing so, and his job is safe because there's no way Haslam is going to change coaches again. You agree with that or disagree with that?
I think Belichick's probably a little safer.
Safer than Stefanski?
Yeah.
Possible.
Because we know Belichick's not going to go 14-2 this year, and he'll still keep his job, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
But I get his point. I do get his point. I mean, if you're going to hire, we've said this before, Les, if you're going to hire a rookie head coach, you should probably taking into account the possibility that he's going to learn on the job.
Yeah,
so
and you got the Deep Podesta roller coaster you're talking about.
Yep.
All right. Michael in Canton says, look at this. We're already getting to this portion of the sports season. If Terry Francona decides to retire after hopefully a World Series win, who do you think would take over? Sandy Alomar, Omar Vizquel, or somebody else? I don't even want to get into it.
No, I got to tell you, Les, that is
a 4.
Oh, that wasn't how come quickie?
No, that was just a.
Okay, because that wasn't quick or didn't say come. So.
All right, so Victor in the control. Now the control room is starting to get quickies in. They check out if this is a good quickie night, and if they think they can sneak in with a win, they send them in. I think there's a pile of quickies.
This is an in-house quickie?
This one is. It's 4 in-house quickies by Victor. How come people in the South don't tip their waitresses, but they tip their cows? Any idea what that means? Am I missing some reference?
Yeah. I thought that was more of a rural thing and not a southern thing. So.
All right. Well, here I got this one. I understand this one. How come chickens on quarantine don't feel cooped up?
Was that from Victor?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
8.0.
Yeah.
He's got one more.
Hey, I've tried to make those guys happy. They can make me look pretty bad.
Yeah, that's true. How come nobody actually speaks sign language? You see that coming?
Yeah. I'm not. That wasn't a great one.
Is that the way you make fours? East Side Eddie. How is it there's such a thing as self-help books? If you're reading a book, isn't that a book help? It's getting late.
What?
I don't know.
All right. I'm gonna.
You'll pass on that one?
I'm gonna pass on that one, and I'll get back to you.
All right.
I'll get back to you.
Big Ed, here you go. Big Ed has 2 that he's submitted, but this being more sports and less Levine, I'm going to invoke the Les Levine. Don't lose your job over this. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So number one, Big Ed. Don't even try it again. You know they're testing me. How come when I asked my granddaughter if her teddy bear was hungry, she said no, he's stuffed?
It's pretty good. That's pretty strong.
7.0. All right.
Yeah. I don't like that. I mean, I like that one. I didn't see it coming.
You didn't see it coming, which is part of how you grade these things. Did your professors in college grade that way also on a curve? Did they say, I didn't see it coming, or
oh, yeah.
They're called quickies, sir?
Thank goodness they graded on a curve.
They're 500-word essays, and you're making them quicker, 487. All right, now you really have 1 minute to add to anything you want.
Okay, I know that I look incredibly young on camera, so people will find this hard to believe, but my 4th grandkid was born this morning.
And you wait till the top of the hour to tell me that?
Yeah, I know. Well, you've buried the lead a couple of times on things you told me. Maybe you'd want to share that with your audience.
Well, you'll have to tell me.
One time, Sleepy Hollow, you did that on about the 15th tee.
You have time to tell it?
No, I don't.
Boy or girl?
Thank goodness.
Boy or girl?
Boy. I've had 4 grandkids, all boys. My son and his wife.
You got a basketball team.
My son and his wife are due in September, so we're figuring we're going to have a starting 5.
All right, give the Sleepy Hollow story one more time.
I can't. I think you know why, and if you don't, I'll call you later. This is the one you buried the lead. This isn't your trick shot in the fairway.
Oh, I thought you were, no. That's a story. That's a story that shouldn't wait till the 18th hole. It's a totally different story. All right, now we're out of time. You can't even give me the Sleepy Hollow on the fairway story.
I'll save it for next week.
I was not paying attention where you were going. I was not even contemplating you were going that other way on that one. All right, that'll do it for us. Great job. Have you told that to anybody else, by the way?
No one.
Okay.
No one.
Good. Keep it that way. That'll do it for us. Thanks to Bud Shaw. We'll see him next Tuesday night. We'll see you tomorrow night with the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, Mary Kay Cabot. On Thursday, Dave Bacon and his weekend winners on Friday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.